Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel, and yet again another movie review. I apologize for the delay on this. I'm just going crazy even trying to record this because my life's like that all the time, but I hope that this one gets traction because this was easily the biggest new release to come out this past weekend, and definitely the one I'm most excited to talk about, and that of course is Obsession, written and directed by Curry Barker, starring Michael Johnston, Inde Navarrette, Cooper Tomlinson, Megan Lawless, and funnily enough, Andy Richter. And this follows a group of friends who work at this music store. And we follow the lead character, Bear, who is madly in love with his best friend, Nikki, but he's not entirely sure if she has the same affection that he has for her. So in a desperate attempt to gain Nikki's affection, he goes to the store and buys this item called a one-wish willow, which basically you break it in half and it gives you any wish that you want, and he wishes that Nikki will love him more than anyone else in the world. And that leads to some very, very horrifying results. I think it's safe to say you guys all know that that's what this movie is centered around, this monkey paw sort of premise. And I don't think I've personally seen too many films that deal with that sort of narrative crux, but I will say that this one, I think, explores it in a very, very meaningful, very horrifying, very fully realized way. And this is one I did hear great things about it at TIFF, so I put it on my radar, and I am so glad to see it now because this is a sensational horror film. I really feel that this is one of the most memorable horror films in recent memory, besides the fact that last year had a plethora of them. But besides the point, I think that this one is going to transcend culturally, maybe even a bit more so than something like Bring Her Back, which ended up being one of my top 10 favorite films of the year. And I think that this absolutely deserves to be in the same conversation because honestly, I don't see how 10 movies can top this for the rest of 2026. I absolutely loved this film. And I think that Curry Barker is such a new and distinctive voice in this realm. And it's interesting to see this trend of not only comedy performers like Jordan Peele, transitioning into, his masterpiece Get Out. And of course, when it comes to the YouTube platform, people like the Philippou brothers with Talk to Me and Bring Her Back. And then of course you get decidedly mixed results with Chris Stuckman and Shelby Oaks, but I really do think Curry Barker is in the former camp here, and I really feel like his sensibilities for comedy shine through immediately from the opening scene of this film, which caught me off guard in such a hysterical and cringe-inducing way. And I think what is amazing about this film is his ability to build and write cringe comedy, because a lot of these social situations are painfully awkward, and just watching it as a man, I'm just like, dude, just come on, stop being such a wimp, man. I really do think that it is captured so well, the dynamic and the awkwardness, and also just the way they set up Bear's character. It makes complete sense for him to take the actions that he does. And I have to give a lot of props to Michael Johnston's performance, who's absolutely incredible here. I have to say, one of the best leading performances I've seen so far in 2026, because he really is such a nice guy chud, and it's really, really pitiful to just see him make these, painfully awkward decisions, and the way that he decides to play into social cues. But at the same time, the thing that's so impressive about his performance is you really empathize with him because he comes off as the nice guy, right? But then you think about how the story plays out, and you're like, wait a minute. This guy basically, not to get too into spoilers, but I think you can understand if you have any knowledge of the story, he basically strips a woman away of her autonomy. And that's the thing that's so great about it, because you can understand where he's coming from, and the fact that there's sort of naivete and innocence to what he's doing, but it really is anything but And I think that's the thing that's so great about this performance, how deceptive it is. And I think that's the great thing about Curry Barker's writing, is he really portrays all these characters in such a three-dimensional way. And I really do feel like the dynamics between the friend group are really felt. I think Cooper Tomlinson is really fun here as well. Gets some of the best comedic moments. Got great comedic timing, which of course makes sense considering his work with Curry Barker. And of course, Megan Lawless, I think, really adds such a great sense of empathy to this movie as well. Very, very well needed character. And I really, really loved what they ended up doing with her in the film. But you guys have been hearing it. I said it in my out theater reaction. Inde Navarrette. Holy shit. This is a tour de force horror performance that, you know, has shades of Toni Collette in Hereditary, Mia Goth in Pearl, Kathy Bates in Misery. It really is so manic in all the best ways possible. The way that she not only exudes this level of charisma, especially at the beginning of the film, before anything happens, she has such a dynamite presence, and of course she's absolutely beautiful, and so maybe you understand why Bear is in the situation he's in, but the way that she quickly jars from one facial expression to the next, and you never know what she's going to do. This is such a volatile and unpredictable performance, and really it's just so horrifying because of how instantaneous it all is, and it certainly apparently was that way on set as well. No one knew what she was going to do next, and it's such a live wire, just absolute batshit horrifying scream queen performance for the ages. I think that this is an all-timer in the horror genre. And honestly, if Amy Madigan can win an Oscar for Weapons, why can't Inde Navarrette for this? I know she's, you know, very young, and this is like her first major role, which is going to make her a huge star. But honestly, I do not see many performances even coming close to what she does in this film. And honestly, she's even better than Amy Madigan in Weapons, and that's saying a lot. This really is a performance that deserves Oscar recognition, if not the win. I think that this girl is going to go on to do some incredible work, and this is just such a memorable and, dare I say, iconic performance to kick off, you know, a really, really fruitious film career. And so that's probably the best thing you can say about this film. Probably the reason everybody is talking about this film. She just has to juggle so many emotional complexities in this performance. It's so dynamic in every single way possible. It's what acting is all about, honestly. But the direction here is absolutely stunning. And what I really love is not only the mastery over the tonal balance between the comedy and the horror, but the way that Curry Barker will just push the camera in and move it throughout the frame. And as soon as he's moving in, like, the jarring sound design just absolutely puts you on edge and continues to ratchet up that tension as he does so. And there's also really a couple of great reveals that he uses through the camera. You know, there's certain moments of dramatic irony which I think really, really play to great effect. And some of the lighting here, the cinematography, I think is really, really great. More so the shot composition than the lighting, but there are a couple of moments with Inde Navarrette where they're just like on her face, like in the darkness. Guys, did I tell you how great she is in this movie? But seriously, the way that he lights her eyes sometimes is like everything, man. And I really do feel like this is such a confident... I know it's not a debut because he did a feature-length film on YouTube a couple years back, which I haven't gotten a chance to see. But this really is such a confident sophomore feature, which really is, let's be honest, his breakout film. And it excites me so much that this is the guy who's taking over the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, because that makes perfect sense considering, you know, the balance of comedy in that film, because there's some really bizarre and surreal moments here. And at the beginning of this movie, you'll be laughing your ass off and slowly just like falling back in your seat, and then just absolutely awestruck by some of the places, the horrifying moments in this film. Because I will say there's a couple beats in this movie that are predictable, and a couple character decisions that, you know, you could say are stupid or whatever, but it feels completely earned within the context of the film. And there is one moment of violence, and if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where I literally, like, my brain just broke. I was absolutely fucking terrified. And it's very, very rare for a horror movie to ever make me feel that way, but I was like almost moved to tears. Like, just how painful it was to watch and to see the aftermath of everything. I mean, it really is such a well-constructed film that really takes its time to build character, to establish these dynamics with these characters, and really takes some very, very bold, very disturbing decisions throughout the narrative that I don't know if a lot of horror movies would have the balls to make. And an ending that, to be honest, I think really, after sitting with it, is such a memorable one. And thinking about where this film ends and what the implications of that mean after the story, I think is really what makes it special. And of course, the final shot too is such a great usage of, you know, camera movement as well. It's such a tricky shot to pull off, but I feel like because of all of this, Obsession is one of the absolute must-see films of the year. Like I said, there's not going to be many films that are going to make me laugh, or going to completely wow me in an emotional way, and also completely terrify me at the same time. This movie really is so well conceived on every single level. And yeah, one of the absolute best films of 2026. And I really don't see how any horror movie is going to top that for the rest of the year, unless it's like, you know, Werewolf or something. But yeah, guys, I'm going to give Obsession a 9.5 out of 10. I am so happy we are so back. This past weekend had been the best weekend for movies this entire year. There's a couple more films I want to talk about, but this one, if you haven't seen it yet, please rush out to the theaters. And it's so great to see that a movie, I believe, that was made for under a budget of $1 million is doing this well and is reaching this level of, you know, cultural status already, it seems. I've seen the memes on social media already with Freaky Nicky. And I just think that this really is in that canon of films that broke out, like Hereditary, like Midsommar, you know, like Talk to Me. I think it's better than all of them. I really do. This is just such a wonderful horror film that I think is going to be remembered for years to come. But yeah, that's my review of Obsession. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. Is this one of your favorite movies of the year? Is it one of the best horror films you've seen so far? Is it one of your favorite horror films of the decade? It certainly is one of mine. Or were you disappointed by it? Let me know all that down below. And please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more movie reviews like this one. I think next up on the docket, I probably want to hit out either Is God Is or Blue Heron. Definitely two movies that added some enjoyment to what was overall personally a disappointing weekend, but you know, at least the movies are there, and you know, I was so happy that I was able to get to all this, and I hope that I get it all to you within a reasonable time frame. So until the next one, stay cool, guys, and I'll talk to you very soon.